Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Currently, we are still in lockdown, so I thought I'd try and make the most of the ingredients that I have around the house today. So we're going to be making a potato terrine, but not just potato terrine, potato and duck fat terrine. Yeah, that's right, I've got barely any ingredients in. I do have duck fat lying around. So to get this potato terrine underway, first thing we're going to do is peel a big old pile of potatoes. Now I'm using a kilo of Maris Piper here, which in my opinion are the best potatoes to use for this terrine. If you use a waxy variety, the terrine has a tendency to fall apart when you try and crisp it up later on. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves just yet. So peel the potatoes and place them into a bowl of water once they're peeled. This is just to stop the potatoes from oxidizing, going brown or pinkish while you peel the rest of them. Once the potatoes are peeled, we're going to slice them nice and thin, about 2mm thick. Now you can do this with a knife if you like punishing yourself, but I prefer to use a mandolin. I find you can get much more consistent slices in about half the time. Now I would definitely recommend the use of a guard when you're using the mandolin, just to help protect those fingers. But Al, you're not using a guard. Yeah, okay, I lost my guard ages ago, but the same safety rules still apply. Keep your hand nice and flat and press down when you're slicing the potato. That way there's much less risk of cutting yourself. If you hold the potato with your fingers, you're very likely to cut the tips of your fingers or your knuckles. And I would say not doing that is a really good idea. So slice your potato, and if you're using the mandolin, just check the potato slices from time to time to make sure they're staying the same size. Sometimes these mandolins readjust themselves a little bit while you're slicing. Once potatoes are sliced, put them into a bowl, but no water this time, as we don't want to wash off any of that starch. It's going to help stick our terrine together. Now we can add 100 grams of our melted duck fat. Pour it all over the potatoes and give them a really good toss all together. You really want to get all those potatoes coated in that fat. Of course, if you didn't want to use duck fat, then you can always replace it with melted butter or maybe some olive oil instead. Once these potatoes are coated in fat, line a 2-pound loaf tin with silicone paper. Now, if your tin lining skills are something that you feel needs work, I do have a video which I'll link to down below that will show you exactly what you need to do, so I'd recommend checking that out. Now, loaf tin lined, it's time to start assembling our terrine. As well as our duck fat potato slices, we're also going to need some sea salt and a little bit of corn flour. Then we need to start layering up this potato, so start by laying down a few slices to cover the base of the loaf tin. Then sprinkle over a little bit of sea salt and lightly dust over a tiny bit of corn flour. Then top with another layer of potato. Repeat this layering over and over again, seasoning with the sea salt and using that corn flour. This really helps act with the starch to help stick the potato together. As you're layering up this terrine, make sure to press down the potato to try and pack as much into this loaf tin as possible. Once you've completely filled the loaf tin with all the potato slices, cover the top with another piece of silicone paper and transfer that loaf tin onto a baking sheet, and then place another 2-pound loaf tin on top and weigh it down. You're going to need something that can be put into the oven, so I find baking beans are the perfect way to weigh down the tin. This will just help press down those layers during the cooking, compressing them together. Then place the potato terrine into the oven at 160 degrees for 2 hours until completely cooked through. Once cooked, take out of the oven, remove the baking beans from the top loaf tin, and then replace them with something a little bit heavier. I'm using some weights that I've cling filmed together, but you can use some heavy tins from the cupboard or basically anything you have to hand. The whole idea is we want to press this terrine as it cools, so it ends up nice and compact and all those potato layers stick together. The starch from the Maris Piper potatoes and the corn flour we've added between each layer will also help with this. So once you've got your terrine weighted, leave it to cool, and then, once it's cool enough, put it in the fridge for at least 6 hours, but preferably overnight if you can. Then, to unmold this terrine, remove the weight and the silicone paper from the top, remove the terrine from the loaf tin, and discard the remaining silicone paper from around the outside edge. The finished terrine should look really compressed, just like this, with all those layers of potato pressed together, and it should hold together like a solid block. If it falls apart at this stage, something has definitely gone wrong. Now, all that's left to do is serve it up. So trim the edges of the terrine to neaten up the shape a little bit and remove any dry and crispy bits. We can slice this terrine into thick slices. These are probably about 1.5 centimeters thick. Have a quick look at this cross section here. You can just see all those layers of cooked potato pressed together. It is so cool. Okay, so we've sliced our terrine and now we're going to pan fry these slices until crispy golden brown. So heat up a little bit of duck fat or olive oil in a cast iron or non-stick frying pan and then add the terrine to the hot oil. Fry it over a medium-high heat until rich golden brown on the bottom. Then carefully flip over the terrine and continue to cook on the other side until crispy and golden just like before. Then right at the end, add a little bit of unsalted butter to the pan and just baste this terrine in the foaming butter for a minute or so just to finish it. Then remove the terrine slice from the pan and drain on some kitchen paper and sprinkle generously with some sea salt. It's the perfect accompaniment to any protein, but we're a little bit limited for ingredients at the moment during the lockdown, so I thought I'd just make a little dish up with some of the stuff I had in the kitchen. I'm warning you now, there's some chefy bullshit coming your way. Now, I'm not saying this is the way to serve your potato terrine. It was just a little bit of fun of me looking in the fridge to find something to garnish this dish with. To be honest, it's going to make a fantastic accompaniment to any meat or fish that's a little bit unique from the normal potatoes you might serve. Give it a go because it is really easy to assemble and cook, insanely delicious, and also super satisfying once you crisp it all up and everything else. You're going to feel a real sense of achievement once this thing's done. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this recipe, let me know by hitting that thumbs up down below. And if you're new here and you like what you see, why not hit that subscribe button as well. Reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook. I love to see what you guys are cooking. I will see you next time.